that button, do the intro music. Camera up. Video capture installed. Camera. Hello and welcome to Oz by Drone. This is Greg and I'm sitting here at the moment. I've already got a couple of viewers on there I can see. At the moment, I'm on the phone with Telstra. Now, this is my favourite friends. I'm on the phone with Adriana from Telstra and she's been talking to me today. Now, you guys saw on the weekend how many times the internet buffered and broke up and kept on dropping out. Now, you know as well as I do that this has been an ongoing problem. And in fact, it's so ongoing that not just me, but every single one of my neighbours who also uses Telstra has outages. Now, today, Adriana told me that it's my fault, that it's got nothing to do with Telstra. She's trying to tell me the fact that I'm trying to monitor and discover these problems, that maybe it's my fault and that I'm causing the problem. So I'm at the point of frustration where I just want to go and put this on the record myself right now and express this is the kind of treatment we get from Telstra. It's my fault that the service is broken. So let's go and have a look exactly what that means, right? And Adriana's listening right now. So let's go and get some graphs and stats on the screen. It'll take me a moment to get that happening. Okay. Move that window. Mind you, Adriana is not interested in having a look at the statistics that I've got here that I've been willing to show her, but she's still willing to say that it's my fault. It's my fault that my internet isn't working. Now, I don't know who's in chat at the moment, but I'll get the chat window up in a minute. But in the meantime, let me get up. This is a copy of the network statistics for today. Now, what you see over here right now is a couple of outages. Now, to be fair, those ones where there's a gap, that was not Telstra. Let me move over here, and it's a bit hard to do it because I've got so much data. So over the weekend, we had let's scroll still some more. There we go. Now you see those big blocks there. That's when the service was physically down. Not only was it down, I called up Telstra and I spoke to a Telstra agent. I've got the service request ticket number. And let me read to you the service request ticket number now. So we'll document it officially. Interaction number INT 1-19805-6962-0622. The person who answered the phone on that call, they agreed that they could see the service was down. Fine. It was hard down, not just degraded. It was down. They could not see the modem. And I spoke to Adriana, who's been managing this problem today. And what did she say about it? She said, well, there's nothing we can do other than send someone out to check your equipment. It's my fault. It's not Telstra's fault. It's never Telstra's fault. But let's have a look at how that test is exactly run. See, the thing is, I'm a network engineer by trade, and I had a look at this and I said, I want to measure this so that I can prove that Telstra's network is the cause of the problem. So instead of just pinging from here to here, I set up what's called an agent-based network ping. The tool that you saw on the screen a moment ago is called Ping Plotter. Now, this particular tool, it goes to the router, not from a computer that's doing the testing. It goes to the router and it does a ping to a far-end target. And when it's doing that, it's reporting real and actual problems with the network. But according to Adriana, there's no problem with the network, even though you can clearly see it. So let's have a look in the chat, see who's here. Sorry for this impromptu stream. I'm just at the point of frustration, and she refused to do anything more other than send someone to go and have a look at my gear instead of fixing their broken network. Create a studio. Oops. YouTube.com. Oops, I'll turn that off. I don't need to hear myself. Hello, Steve Carpenter. How you doing? Yeah, give him hell, Greg. You have hundreds of people to back you. Yeah, I know, guys. Hi, Peter Carroll. And hi, Steve. Drone Shots. Hello, Jody. So it's so frustrating. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get another piece of data up. This one goes back further. So not only have I got that recent monitoring tool, I've got another one that I run on a server. And let's get that up on the screen. Cut over to that screen right now. I mean, I'm trying to get ready to go away for a holiday instead of dealing with this crap. But anyway, over here you can see these couple of smokestacks in the middle there. That's where there's high jitter. If you have a look at this one down here, let me just get that ready. Hang on a second, I've got to switch the screen. That one's going to be harder for me to get up. I'll do this one. I'm trying to do it without having some sensitive confidential stuff coming up on the screen. I'll see if I can trim that. Just a moment. Let's go over here. Screen capture. Crop. Now, mind you, Telstra's on the phone, or at least they were. I don't know if she's hung up yet. No, she has hung up. Telstra hung up on me. Let's have a look. Crop at the top. Over here. So this picture over here, you see that black spike there sticking out? That is what a dropout looks like. That is when my internet is failing. Let's see if I can dig into that a little bit more. Some other parts of this screen, those blue things in there, that's again when the internet is failing. Now let's have a look at when our show was this weekend, where we had Ready Set Drone and myself doing a simulcast. That would have been on the 6th of April. On the 6th of April, when we were trying to do that simulcast. There we go. You can see those purple and black things there. That's basically my internet dropping out. It's dropping out not just on that day, but on the 3rd, on the 4th, on the 5th, on the 6th, on the 7th was jittery, but not so much, drop out a little bit. Every day of every week, my internet service drops out. So I tell you what, I would like everyone who's in Australia here right now to pick up your phone and ask to speak to Adriana at Telstra. I don't want you to be disrespectful. I want you to explain that you are frustrated because every single week this happens. The telephone number to speak to Adriana is 1-800 117 969. Now you've got to be in Australia. Again, the telephone number is 1-800 117 969. You must be in Australia. And call her and give her, ask for Adriana. If you need to give them a trouble ticket, you can give them trouble ticket TT 1-194 6506 03 0136. Give them that trouble ticket number and just tell them that you are frustrated because they're failing to fix this internet service. Week after week after week, you see it buffering here on YouTube. But they don't believe there's a problem. The ticket number, I'll give it to you one more time. TT 1-194 650 60 136. Ask for Adriana. Now, just to be really, really perfectly clear, This isn't just me, okay? It's not just me. It's myself. I've also got another family member who lives in the same estate or townhouse complex. And every time my internet goes off, theirs goes off as well. So that's 2. And then there's another neighbour directly opposite the driveway into the complex. Every time my internet goes off, hers goes off as well. Really, really frustrating. And in addition to that, my direct next door neighbour, it was absolutely, his goes off at the same time. All 4 of us. Now, beyond that, there are other people in the complex that I'm not as, friendly with who also have expressed regular internet concerns. But Telstra, do they want to do anything about it? No. Last time I spoke to Adriana and I was complaining about this, she said open more tickets. So I got on the phone and I opened up one for me, one for my family member, one for my neighbour over there, over the way, and she gave me authority to open that ticket. And then I got on the phone to someone else and I opened the ticket as well. And, I'm opening all these tickets, but nothing ever frigging happens. I'm just getting a message from my daughter. I'm actually meant to be going and picking up my daughter from school. And I got really, really frustrated. I was on the phone to this Telstra person and I was so enraged that she's just saying, well, too bad. It's your problem. Let me just do this as well. Just sending a text message to my wife. I would normally go and pick her up. Okay, let's calm down. So Steve Carpenter, Greg, during the simulcast with Kelly, your audio dropped, but the video was live when Kelly and Philip were having trouble. Yes, that was their problem. They had a problem and they had something set up not quite right and they fixed that later on. But here's a question for you guys. How is the video now? Is it buffering? I want to physically see this break right now. Hopefully, if it breaks, and this video, we go and send it around to a few Telstra chat rooms and channels and so on. What is her level within the company? Normally, when you call the general Telstra call center, you get someone in another country who answers the phone. I'm just getting messages from my wife. When you call, you normally get someone in another country. So Peter and Steve, let's do this. Let's get 1 or 2 of you to jump in. But the other problem is right now, at this exact moment, the signals are pretty good. But you guys saw it on the weekend. So I'm half not expecting it to fail right now. But if 1 or 2 of you want to get on Rendezvous, we can do that as well to prove or disprove, make it break. I don't know. I don't think there's any point though. Because it's not bad right now. This is the problem. You got an intermittent fault. And Telstra don't give a damn. They really don't. Here, let me explain the technology involved. And this... Okay. Just imagine you've got a telephone exchange over the road, which in my case I have. It's very, very close to my home. Telephone exchange, short distance. Now, when they come to send a technician to my house and they measure the signals and they put their meters on the internet service, what does that mean? They're looking at the signal that they receive from the exchange. So they're listening to the exchange and they're looking at 2 things. They're looking at the signal level or the power level received, if you like, the power level that they receive from the exchange. and that's measured in decibel millivolts, and they're also looking at the SNR, the signal to noise ratio. So when that happens, they're seeing how well the exchange can talk to me. But when you're a YouTube live streamer, you want to send large amounts of data back to the exchange. So the problem that I've got is every single time we do a live stream, that the packets from me are getting lost. So the upload to YouTube is getting lost. Now, I'll tell you how I've verified this. I've got my own servers out in the cloud. So I can do pings of a large amount of quantity or volume, and it doesn't have to be an ICMP ping. It can be using other protocols as well. I can do UDP, which is prioritized higher than ICMP, to make sure it gets through the network. And if I send a number of pings out, they don't reach the other end if I monitor at the other end. That is a fact. Hi, Ken Heron. I'm just having a rant. I'm having a really big rant in case you wanted to know. I'm complaining about Telstra. For those who got here late, I'll just quickly recap. I was on the phone to Telstra and they basically said, go and fix it yourself. It's a problem with your network. It's a problem with your infrastructure. Even though I've got data that proves conclusively, without any shadow of a doubt, that their network is broken. Back to my point. So, just imagine you're at the exchange and you're yelling, "Hello, are you there?" And then my modem over here is listening. It's listening and it can say, what kind of power level is that signal? So that's the dBMV, decibel millivolts. And the SNR is the signal to noise. You've got to hear that clearly over the other noise that might be coming in. So they come here and they measure those two numbers. They measure them here. But what about the upload back to the exchange? They come here and at the time that they measure it, they're not measuring what's happening at the exchange. The guy who came here, the NBN employee and the Telstra employee both agreed that this is something they can't measure. So they can't tell me if there is or is not a fault in the upstream going back to the exchange. They can't measure it, they can't fix it, they can't do anything. So then comes the NBN. No bloody network, NBN. So for those who are not in Australia, NBN stands for National Broadband Network, but most people laughingly refer to it as no bloody network, which is probably more accurate. So when the internet goes out here and it goes out again and again and again, they're the people that Telstra call. They don't maintain the network anymore, they sold it. Not only did they sell it, but they totally ran that network down. Before they sold it, they were not spending a cent on maintenance. They weren't doing any upgrades, any repairs. Every time people called up Telstra about a fault before it was sold to NBN, they'll send someone out, measure the signals, go away, and they won't do anything else out. You're very lucky if you even get someone to come out. But as soon as they sold it to the NBN, well, it's not our problem now. We can send the ticket off to the NBN. They do that. They'll send the ticket off to the NBN, but unfortunately, the NBN, they're trying to, at the same time, build a nationwide network. They don't have the bandwidth to try and fix up everyone's problem because of Telstra's underinvestment in a network that they sold for a large amount of money and the Australian government got conned. They bought a white elephant. You have no idea how much rage is in me, how annoyed I am. Ken, you know your frustration when your microphone isn't working? Just imagine that 100 times bigger. That's how I feel right now. Anyway, so what do? I don't know what I can do. There's nothing I can do. There is literally not. Well, I can call the TIO, the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman. Theoretically, they're the people who should hold them accountable. Steve Carpenter's saying, Greg, they can test from the exchange to the substation. Sounds like they just won't do it, but it's got to be done during the time of the outages. I agree with you, Steve Carpenter. I agree with you 100%. And when it was down, I called them up, I got on the phone, and guess what? They said, we can't see your modem. They acknowledged the problem. They said, we can't see your modem. Yes, it's down. But that was the call centre in another country and, you know, there's already a ticket open. They said they'll get in touch with the Australian people and I should talk to them on Monday. So I spoke to them today on Monday. And the Australian people said, yes, it was down, but it's up now. So we're not going to do anything. Again, I'm just going to give this to you again. I would love for any Australians to go and ring and ask for Adriana. Her telephone number is 1800 117 969 and press option 4. When they answer the phone, tell them you would like to speak to Adriana about trouble ticket, and here's the number, TT1-1946 5060 30136. Steve Carpenter, yes, I agree with you 100%. If they can't see the modem, they have just admitted their own problems. Yes, I agree. Someone said I should change retailers. Here's the problem. The existing network here right now is a cable-based network, and it's not fully migrated in our area to NBN, which is... I'll change track in a minute and I'll speak about what is the NBN in Australia. You're going to laugh at this. I can have a rant about this one as well. Take a deep breath and go on vacation. As it happens, I am going on vacation, so... Okay, the NBN. In the beginning, very biblical, I need the echo effect. Hang on, I do have an echo effect. I should do it. No, I won't. So the NBN was invented by a previous political party. We had Kevin Rudd, Julia Gillard, and then Kevin Rudd. 3 prime ministers in a very short period of time. Kevin got sacked, and then Julia got sacked, and then Kevin got back in, and then we got rid of a lot of them. The one thing that they did actually do correctly is that they said... Oh, by the way, Ariel, you said record the call the next time they say they can't see a modem light. Might be useful to a lawyer in the future. I told him I was recording the call. I notified him that I wanted to record the call so that I could give that to the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman. They agreed, they understood, they acknowledged I was recording it. So their goose is cooked. Back to my problem, the NBN. So Kevin, Julia, Kevin, they said, we're going to invent this national broadband network. It was a big vote winner. It was politically really, really good. They said, we're going to run fibre optic to every house in the country. You beauty. Problem was that it wasn't funded. They didn't have any money coming in the front door as to where it was going to be funded from. So then came a change of government, and then we had Tony Abbott, and then we had Malcolm Turnbull, and then we had Scott Morrison. Hang on, didn't the last people make fools of themselves sacking the prime ministers? Both sides of politics have done that. Anyway, let's move on from that. But the point is, Malcolm Turnbull, when he was communications minister, made a decision, and he made a decision that we're not going to do fibre to everyone's house anymore. It's too expensive. So instead of putting in new network technology, they said, we'll use this old 20-year-old stuff that's already out there doing pay TV. Right? You've already got a network out there. Let's use that. So the technology they wanted to use, instead of fibre that can do gigabit bidirectionally, they said we're going to use 20-year-old technology. Sounded like a good idea. From a financial perspective, instead of building a network, which costs a large amount of money, they're going to buy a network which costs a smaller amount of money. And in some parts of the country, they're going to, they're still going to put in other types of technology in other places. But I'll get to that in a minute. Let's just talk about my place right now. They've said we're going to use this HFC network. But here's the thing. I already have HFC. The only thing that's going to change is replace one modem with another modem, which they haven't done yet. And the reason they haven't done it is because of these problems, right? I've explained to them. In fact, our whole residents association has contacted NBN. And we said as a group, hey, this HFC network sucks. We don't want anything of it. We want to be on fibre. Give us a quote to put in fibre instead of your legacy 20-year-old network. Sounds like a good idea, except they can't give us a quote. It's not available. In fact, I could go to the NBN website and put it on the page on the screen for you right now. It is not available. Under development is what it says. Under development. For how long? When will you finish your development? I don't know. So long and the short of it is, if I went to another retailer, I can't use this physical cable and I'd have to go on to DSL, which is even slower than what I've got now. So that's bad. So I can't do that. So I can't change retailers. I could try and bring forward the NBN connection. But the reason that I don't want to do that is because we as a community, we want to do this thing called a technology choice, and we want them to put in fibre. And they said that's going to happen, that it's going to be available. They're just not available yet. So I'm stuffed in the middle right now. I've got no way to be able to get decent internet that works. We're in the internet third world. I'm trying to remain calm. Yeah, Steve Carpenter, no DSL, you'd be dead for sure. I have no other options. I mean, with this internet service as it is, I already pay for the speed boost. I pay an extra $20 a month just to make it as fast as possible. This is the most money I can pay for internet to my home. I can't pay any more money. But it's still broken. I'll give you that phone number one more time for any of those Australians that are here. Call 1-800-117-969, press option 4 and ask for Adriana. Give her trouble ticket TT1-1946 506030 Tell her what you see every single weekend with buffering on Ausbydrone. Let her know that you are frustrated. Stan Cook, yeah, I could move over there. You've got a studio. Thanks. I like my house. I like everything else here. Let's talk about the technology mix. So what happened? They originally said they were going to do fibre. Fibre was axed. Then they said they're going to do this technology mix and they're going to do fibre to the node. Now, what is fibre to the node? That's when they're going to go and put in a cabinet They put in this box out in the street and they run fibre all the way to the street. And then from there, instead of putting in new, fast, high technology services, they're going to put in VDSL, a older technology service, copper, on your existing phone line. Hey, Malice, I'm having a rant about Telstra and the NBN. You would understand that. By the way, Malice Vex, I'm curious, what type of network do you have at home? How do you get the speed that you've got for your streaming? I'd be curious to know. Anyway, so technology choice. The original, HFC. Number 2, you can have fibre to the node. They put in this node somewhere, and then the existing copper lines will come to your house. Well, there's nothing revolutionary about that, I hate to say. Because the telephone exchange that's just over the road, they've already got fibre going in there. You've got fibre to the home. Malice Vex, I am so envious. You live in the middle of nowhere. I live in Sydney and I can't get a decent internet service. Peter Carroll, you've been on fibre to the node for about 12 months. Very few problems, touch wood. They won't offer fibre to the node to me. Try Optus and stuff Telstra. I can't do that. If I go off this cable service, what am I going to get instead? Standard DSL. NBN not available here yet. You're running, Wedgie, you're running a dual 120 megabit cable modems. My cable modem will do 120 megabits downstream, but here's the problem. In fact, I'm going to get this on the screen and show it to you. Let's do this. Does your modem have 4GX facility? Yes and no. They deliberately limit me to 1 megabit per second. Okay, so here's my modem. Actually, I don't want you to see my MAC addresses. That would probably be a bad thing. Yeah, that's all okay. So okay, here is my modem. Let's give a quick educational talk and story about Telstra modems. This thing is the power that I'm receiving, decibel millivolts. It's normal. This is the SNR. This is normal. Now, you'll notice that I've got 8 channels. Then over here, down below, this is my connection for my upload. Now, you'll notice the power is a higher number. It's bigger, okay. And the frequency, well, who cares? But here's the observations. Number 1, they only turn on one channel. So if there's a problem on that one channel, the modem hasn't got a backup path to fix it. There's no redundancy. You're screwed. Is the problem buffer bloat? Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is TCP retransmissions. So in the network, you've got TCP as the protocol you use to go and send stuff to YouTube. But unfortunately, if you get packet loss caused by their network, it's going to go and retransmit that stuff. But the more retransmissions you have, if you've got a high amount of packet loss, that increases the amount of data that you're putting out into the network, which in turn causes capacity issues, which in turn causes more problems. Given the situation, Telstra may unthrottle your 4G modem and give you unlimited download and upload until NBN rolls out on HFC. I'd love them to do that. I've asked them. They said no. I've asked them. I'm paying for this thing. You've got fibre to the street and copper to the home getting gigabit here in South Carolina. Yeah, here's an interesting thing for you on that, Steve. You've got fibre to the street and copper to the home. So that would be effectively fibre to the curb, FTTK. Now, they have that available, but they only promise 100 megabits down and 40 meg up. I just had a request for the ticket number from Peter Demester. Oops, helps if I type it in the right window. So that's the ticket number of the trouble ticket. And I've also got this one. So that's the trouble ticket I had over the weekend where they actually confirmed the modem was down. They couldn't see it. Now, not only do I have those ones, if I go to some of my notes over here, here's some more tickets. And another one. And another one. These are for all of my neighbours that all have services going down at the same time. They all go down at the same time, all of them, all of these people. What's the reason why you would have multiple people in the same geographic area have their internet disrupted at the same time? Either there's a fault in the network or it's cosmic rays. Or you're on Telstra. Steve, you've got 300 down and 30 up, all on copper here. Where are you based, Steve? South Carolina, California. Well, yeah. So I'll just go back to what I was saying. Fibre to the curb. According to the NBN definition, you can get 100 down, 40 up. Again, using a VDSL type technology. Am I on dynamic or static IP? Theoretically dynamic, but my IP address doesn't change. And that doesn't matter. There's no problem with the IP address that I'm using. No, I am not getting bombarded or DDoSed by anything externally. But as I said, it's not just me. It's everyone in this area. It's not just me. So again, if you want to ring 1-800-117-969. Option 4. And ask for Adriana. Greg, I know it's not up here in Minnesota like in Australia, but the nodes around here are really being affected by heat up here. Yeah, that can happen. Just to let you guys know a little bit, the companies that I've worked for over my career, the most recent one was I worked for Verizon. You guys would know Verizon very well. The equivalent of Telstra. I was responsible for managing the Asia Pacific region for post-sales for the cloud data center and colo part of the business for all Asia Pacific customers. So I kind of know a little thing about IT and networks. Funny that. But even with all of this knowledge, they just can't fix it. I've given them data. I've given them so much information. I log on to the router every number of minutes to go and pull down router statistics. That sounds like they're having transferring problems from their substation to the next exchange, or maybe from the next exchange. So the problem that I think is happening on a cable network, you've got amplifiers and effectively splitters, if I simplify it a little bit, or they call them taps. And the taps are able to be configured to decide how much signal to go one way versus another. And the amplifier is just like a TV antenna booster. It's really, really simple. It's a cable network. It's designed to transmit television. So it's just RF, and these modems use those RF signals. Somewhere close to this property where I live, there is a problem with an antenna or a tap or some other splitter that is causing this problem. But the problem is Telstra can't fix it anymore. They used to be able to fix it. They owned the network before. They owned it, and it was their problem to fix. They went and sold the network to NBN because they knew it was a dog of a network. They didn't want anything to do with it anymore. They sold it. Old or failing equipment. Do you know when the Foxtel network was first rolled out? Foxtel, when it was first built, they didn't have, there we go, founded 22nd of October 1995. When that pay TV network was first built, they didn't have network stuff on it. It was just for pay TV, 23 years ago. And instead of putting in a nice shiny new network, Malcolm Turnbull, in his infinite stupidity, said, we're going to use this old dog of a network that Telstra wanted to get rid of. They were laughing. Telstra's getting all the money and the government's paying for this old dog of a network, and now they're finding out the cost to maintain it is so massive. It's insanity. Oh, hang on, it's Malcolm Turnbull. That explains it. I am Wedge. Go get some sleep. If you've got to get up in 5 hours, get some sleep. Okay, I'm going to recap once more for anyone that might have joined in the last little while. Telstra is telling me that they are not going to take any action in response to their confirmed, repeated signal-to-noise ratio and modem dropout issues. That's what they confirmed to me. They're not going to do anything. They want to have a look at my network internally and send a Telstra Platinum technician. That's code word for wasting everyone's time. They're not going to look at the network. It's your problem inside. Why do I not accept their offer to send a Platinum technician? Because I am testing router to router. Two routers at the same street address, two modems at the same street address essentially, pinging each other across. So this is not using any internal network equipment at that point. So if you're not using anything internal and it's all Telstra's equipment, why are they going to send someone to go and have a look at my internal network? Because they want to charge you money. Telstra Platinum, that's code word for we want to charge you money to fix up your internal network. What else? I don't know. I've given up. I'm going to stop now. Any last comments before I go? I am just so over this. What I might do, I'm going to jump into the Discord after this if people want to have a chinwag. And we can talk there. And at the same time, I'll leave the chat room open for a little while. How does that sound? Okay, I'm going to say goodbye. Here comes the goodbye music. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I will see you when I see you next weekend on Saturday. Peter Demester, Ombudsman. Yes, I'm already thinking about it, mate. Don't you worry about it. I don't like doing that, but it's what I've got to do. When am I leaving? I'm leaving on this weekend. So my show at 11, I'll be in the air at that time. So earlier in the morning, I might do a quick live stream from Sydney Airport as I'm getting ready to board that plane. During my holiday, I'll probably do a bunch of live streams from South Korea at a few interesting places to do that. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all. Bye for now. Have a good one. See you guys. Well, that didn't work well. That was meant to be the video chat thing, so you guys could type some stuff up there and have it come up on the screen. But it doesn't look very good. Let's try that again. There we go. See you guys.